Hello, everybody, and welcome to another quarantine edition of MTG Study Hall. I am one of your hosts, Brett, and I am joined, as always, at least in quarantine, by JC, Lily, and Dave, and we also have Tam on the mic. So we have a lot to talk about because Ikoria dropped today, Thursday the 16th. Yes, on Arena. So we have already gotten to play a little bit of Ikoria, and we're going to talk more about it. Before we do, Tam, can you take care of the bookkeeping for me, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make it as quick as I can. So if you like the show, make sure you go out to Facebook, YouTube, Patreon, and Twitch, all at TCG University. Follow us out there for all the amazing content. We've got daily stuff happening. We've got a ton of Twitch streams going on, as well as plenty of content on every single one of those. So big shout outs. Just like my junior or higher sponsors out on Patreon: Addie, Andrew Dang, Anthony Albino, Chris Miner, Clay Cardwell, Jay Rogers, Jarrett Hubbard, Josh Stone, Justin Farst, Kat Maria, Kevin Broberg, Lucinda Letica, Mawa. All right. Paul Casagrande, Samantha Stevens, Theodore Ruiz, and Tyler Zampies. Big shout outs to you guys. Thank you so much for supporting us even in this interesting time. And then our sponsors for the show are Nuclear Inked, Custom Tattoos and Escape Shot, Cards Custom Build, and Inked Gaming. Big shout outs. Thank you so much, you guys, for sponsoring the show. And let's get back to it. Thank you.
Okay, so we want to talk about Ikoria, absolutely, but before we launch into our first topic, let's just check in with what we've all been doing in Magic this past week. I'm just going to take it around how my screen looks, which is not how anyone else's screen looks, so I don't know why I even told you that. JC, you're up first. What have you been doing in Magic?
Oh, you'll see me sometimes on Dave's stream, occasionally, chatting with him. Other than that, just kind of watching some Magic, and haven't got a chance to draft yet, but I do intend on doing it, and, just keeping on. Not too much in this week.
Okay. Lily, what have you been up to in Magic this past week?
Oh, gosh. Today I've been drafting Ikoria.
Okay. And we're going to talk about that as soon as me and Dave are done. Anything else of note in Magic this week?
Not especially, no.
Okay, well, let's save the rest for the Ikoria talk. Dave, what have you been up to?
I've just been doing a lot of streaming on the Popper to Plenty account. Finally got to do a few drafts, got to avoid mono red for a few nights, and now we're right back on mono.
No, I saw your Twitch title, and it's just stuck in that mono red grind, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get out of it eventually. Looks like everybody gets a free draft for Ikoria, so that's cool. That'll at least break up some of the monotony.
Okay, yeah. Anything else, or just mostly just living that Popper life? Okay,
just that, unfortunately.
I yesterday, last Wednesday at 6:30 Central, did our final Theros standard brawling with Brett, and it was a good time. We did a 2-hour stream. We Lily was in the chat. I have my buddy Ben came and harassed me in the chat. As always, we had Kat in the chat, which my god,
a really good streak.
It was that we lost like 3 games out of 19 or 20. Well, we had 16
you didn't play that many.
No, we had 16 wins.
Okay.
So 16 wins. So I think we played about 19 games. I think we lost 19 or 20. We lost 3 or 4. It was a hell of a night. I had the best Croxa game I've ever played. It was super duper down to the wire. Every single card in my hand, like 16 to 19 cards left in the library. It is up on the Twitch channel, and even if you just watch that one game, it was fucking incredible. It was an absolute blast. And then so it was a good send off to Theros standard brawl, and this next Wednesday, we'll be doing the same thing, but we're doing it with Ikoria Brawl. So we'll pick a new commander to build, probably do that on stream as well, and then just start jamming some games. So that is what I've been really doing. And one other side note, we'll be probably getting the Magic online account back going because I have people in my life who really want to play Commander. And since we can't do it in person in my house, we are going to do it on Magic Online. So we might also stream some Magic Online Commander, just for fun, me and my friends, and I think Lily might join in on that. And and if anyone wants to join us, if you're a viewer, you want to play some Commander on Moto, let us know. We'll absolutely get you in the mix. So that is me and Magic, and we're going to move on to Ikoria first impressions. So I got a chance to draft a deck. My first opponent disconnected, so I did the best 2 of the 3 drafts. So won my first one by default, and then I beat the second person. So I haven't played a ton today. Lily, you said you've been playing most of the day. Tell us about Ikoria. What's happening?
Oh my gosh. So when I say play most of the day, I mean I played some games in between when I was absolutely 100% focusing on work. But
Okay.
I shut up. So I drafting is interesting. I don't know how to value these cards yet, but I don't think anyone does. Mutate's weird. Putting a bunch of text on a magic card is a good way for one of your opponents to forget part of it. And whenever there is onboard complexity that is in fucking scrutable, that's where I excel. So I did pretty well, but
Okay.
not break even well because I'm a bad magic player. I'm not, but it's a new set and I'm bad at drafting.
It's also
Get me in front of a technical game. There you go.
Arena's not easy to go infinite on. You have to have a really good record to go infinite on Arena. Thankfully, you can kind of drum up that extra resources with quests and stuff, but no, it is
I
not.
had a really
easy
good
feat.
streak during Eldraine. I don't know. And
Okay.
then before that, Dominaria, I did pretty well, but
Oh, Dominaria draft. That's a story for another day. I love me some Dominaria draft. Dave, have you gotten to play any Ikoria yet?
No, I woke up a couple hours ago, so I have not gotten a chance.
Okay. So I'm assuming if people tune into your stream tonight, they're going to get some Ikoria?
Yes, since there's the free draft, I'm only playing the Pauper to Plenty account on stream, so I will be able to do at least one.
nice.
And I'm assuming that's at some ungodly hour?
Probably earlier since I'm not working today. I'm normally doing it very early in the morning because that's when I'm getting off of.
Okay. So okay, cool. So I'm gonna try to do some more stuff on stream. Maybe stream some stuff out this weekend. We'll throw it in the Patreon, the Discord. Which if you want to be a part of, $1 on Patreon, and then you get to know whenever streams go live. But you can also follow us on Twitch/TCGU, and that should give you any notifications when we go live. I'm gonna try to do some extra stuff this weekend. JC, you haven't played yet, but you were asking a question about a deck possibility before the show started.
I was. I've been looking at a lot of the cards because, frankly, I adore this art. Like Wizards has been on a roll with art that I just super, super love recently. But besides that, looking at a lot of things, so Magic has always been creature focused. I'm not going to deny that. And I think over time it's only gotten more creature focused. People like playing creatures. People like turn them sideways. They've been putting more and more abilities on creatures as time goes on. Then that may be contentious. They've always kind of put abilities on creatures. But that being said, I don't think looking at the cards that there is much of a viable, I cast a lot of spells that aren't creatures kind of strategy going on. Not a lot of like burn to win kind of formats that are viable. I haven't played much with it, honestly, and I haven't thoroughly examined all the cards. But this seems to be more like I focus on my creatures than maybe like ever.
And that's really interesting. On the burn topic, somebody on Reddit pointed out there are not any direct to player face damage red cards in Ikoria.
Correct. And that's mainly what I'm talking about. There's not a whole ton of like white life gain. There's not a whole ton of that's not on creatures. Not a whole ton of like red burn spells. There's just not a lot of direct damage. There's a kind of a worse mana leak in the set and stuff too, but like a lot of stuff is just kind of on creatures. I just feel like there's not a lot of non-creature spell support in this set.
So yeah, a lot of stuff is on those the mutate triggers. So we're seeing like what we got life gain, we got it on mutate and things like that. I think there is,
which I get it. That's the point. But,
I think, and so there's a lot of cycling support, and thankfully, I mean, cycling can be on creatures, it can be on spells, it can be on anything. And so I think there's probably that cycling deck in limited, and there might be that cycling deck in constructed because we've got that 4 mana, that red and white card. That is a card you can go face with, where he deals damage equal to cards with cycling in your graveyard. But I would agree, and like you pitched, like, is there the all creatures deck where you literally don't run anything? And in constructed, it's oftentimes difficult to say no to like planeswalkers or like there's some really strong non-creature stuff that's already in standard, like Embercleave, stuff like that. But Mutate seems really good, and like, I've only done one draft, but what I'm feeling like right now is I didn't take enough creatures with Mutate because stacking those Mutate triggers seems really, really strong.
It seems really strong.
And there is also. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I like where you're going with it. I do wonder aloud if you can run a deck that is I run lands and creatures that I mutate, and that's like all I do.
Yeah.
There's the companion that
I'm looking. Oh, good.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. So if you can pull that off in standard, there's that ooze, that legendary ooze that you can have for your companion if you can do that. So go ahead, Lily. I just wanted to throw out there that there is even a deck building thing to encourage that in standard now.
So I mean, the short answer is like the mutate cards. Some of them are the spells. Like some of those filler, common, or like they're half spells. They're not like actual, like they feel like creatures, but they're like undercurved creatures with a mutate trigger, which is, I mean, they're basically weaker spells that happen multiple times. Like they feel more like, it feels like a lot of the filler spells that would be in a limited format made their way onto creatures, and not in a boring way. I think like Enters the Battlefield triggers are super boring. But I think the mutate's an interesting take because it's basically like, hey, you need a creature to get this effect, but here's some synergy.
Yeah, and you just put voice to something I was thinking as I'm looking through a lot of these cards and thinking about a lot of these cards, is that there's not a lot of chaff spells. There's not a lot of like your basic setup spells. There's a lot of creatures that feel like I'm not really a creature. I'm just printed as a creature, and all you really want is my text at the bottom. That's all you really want from me.
And so chaff spells, they actually printed a really interesting cycle. There's a card in each color that does a really narrow effect, but all those cards have cycling. And so cycling is a really good way to make any card feel valuable. Because in my draft, somebody put a pacifism effect on one of my creatures in my sideboard. I don't play a lot of best 2 out of 3, but I'm trying out the draft. I put the naturalize with cycling in from my board because it's like, okay, if they try to get me there, great. And if not, I'll cycle it. So like, yeah, mutate coupled with cycling has really kind of made most of these cards feel like not that bad to put in your deck. Which oh, go ahead.
In the games I played, there is a ton of focus on correctly playing your cards in the situation. Like that's always a thing, but every card almost in this format seems to be like, hey, which option do you want to play this? And I think that's a big skill tester in a way a lot of stuff isn't. I don't know.
No, I'm really interested in that. Oh, we're moving around. Dave, I know you haven't got a chance to play. Is there something you're hoping to build in your not popper deck, or do you have any cards eyeing? Are there any decks you want to try to put together in Ikoria? I mean, yeah, where are you at in either of your arena accounts?
I'm not really anywhere right now. I mean, it's going to be cool. We're going to see how it pans out. Like, it's too early in the format to really... I think it's going to be too early in the format to really try and figure out what I'm going to want to do with this new set, but it shouldn't take me too terribly long. Like, just getting the volume is going to be the first priority, and then going from there. Like, once you have the bulk of the lands and the bulk of what look like are going to be staple cards, there are less wild cards you then need to have in order to build a constructed deck, or a competitive constructed deck, I should say. So okay, it's just going to be getting as much Ikoria as possible, and then going from there.
Okay, because I feel like standard might get really interesting. Like, it's possible some of the Fires deck absolutely got some tools. All the cycling stuff seems really good in the Fires deck, particularly mono red Shin Godzilla, and I can't think of the actual card's name, but the one if you cycle 4 times you get it. That seems great in Fires of Invention.
The Wandering Monster.
Yeah. Like, so I feel like there's definitely cards that are going to slot into the green blue got more good stuff, like the 2/2
Oh
for
my
2.
god. The frigging the parcel beast or whatever, that like 2/4 that 1 in tap, you like reveal the top card. If it's a land, it comes into play, otherwise put in your hand. Like, that mutates for 2 mana.
Yeah, like our Boreal Grazer, then into that seems.
Oh my
really
gosh.
good.
Or that egg, that dumb little egg.
No, I'm curious. Like, I'm curious. Like, green blue is going to get some toys. Fires is going to get some toys. I think there's a lot of pros are actually talking about the going up to 80 card decks and running the blue-white
I
flicker
could see that.
thing. And so, like, I'm curious if we're going to see some new archetypes. Like, I'm curious if, like, the mutate deck is going to be a deck. If we're going to get some of these other color wedges because we have the wedge support. Or if we're just... Because, like, mono red didn't really get anything. And maybe there's a big red deck. I know people have been trying to talk about a big red deck for a long time. We have 6-mana Chandra. We have the Wandering Monster Shin Godzilla cycling guy. We have that 3/4 for 4 that when you enters the battlefield or like gets targeted, or when an attacker gets targeted, you do stuff. So like it feels like they're trying to give us some tools for like a bigger red thing, but like mono red aggro didn't really get a lot of tools. And so like I don't know if that deck is strong enough because it's just got Embercleave and Torbrin and you just play those cards and win, or if we're actually going to see a bunch of new archetypes pop up. I got no idea. And so time's going to have to tell on that. Does anyone have anything they want to bring up in Ikoria, just Ikoria stuff in general before we roll on to the next topic?
I think Plummet is a trap.
Really? Unlimited?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't playing against the mutate decks, but it was dead like every game I had it in my hand.
Okay. I've only played one opponent, and that opponent was on blue-white flyers, so I don't think I have an opinion on Plummet yet.
I would just like to point out, let me share my screen real quick because I'm digging. Subdued giant animals are now my favorite thing. Like, look at that with its tongue out. It's all like, I can't do anything. And look at pacification. I can't do anything.
I like that. That's my favorite pacifism art ever. The monster tripping balls is my favorite pacifism by a lot.
And there's quite a bit in this. If you look at our cover art for our actual podcast here, there's a lot of monsters tripping balls kind of like images in this set, and I'm pretty happy with it.
No, I'm super excited to play more Ikoria, and as soon as we're done with this podcast, I'm going to go play more Ikoria because I'm super excited for Ikoria.
You should stream.
I'll stream it. I have got to talk to you all. Then I've got to like perform, and I will stream once I've done a little bit of limited. I don't want y'all to watch me make a lot of bad decisions.
I mean, you could keep me on the call, and we could talk. Would that help?
If you want to watch me play Magic poorly, I'm happy to stay in a call, but I don't think I'll subject the viewers to me playing Ikoria poorly. I'll play a lot of limited, and then they can watch me play Ikoria in a mediocre fashion. So. Okay,
I love seeing good Magic players make bad decisions, though.
But I'm not that because I'm not good at Magic.
You make enough bad decisions to offset.
I mean, I normally just luck sack into victory, as we saw with brawling with Brett. You just act greedy and don't pay attention. You still win most of the time anyway, so it's great. Anyway, so we're gonna roll on from Ikoria stuff. I think we're gonna have more. Obviously, we'll have more Ikoria things a week from now because we'll have had a week of playing with it. So we will definitely talk to you more about Ikoria a week from now. But we're going to roll on to a topic that this comes up fairly often on Blogatog, and that is the concept of non-humanoid planeswalkers. So there is definitely a vocal contingent who regularly bring this topic up on Blogatog. For those of you who don't know, is Mark Rosewater, the head designer of Magic's Tumblr blog, where he answers a shocking amount of Tumblr questions about Magic every day. It's basically constant. And so every now and then the topic will resurface of why aren't there more non-humanoid walkers? What I mean by so humanoid is obviously humans, and then characters like a Johnny or Vraska that are the same, 2 arms, 2 legs, vaguely human in feature, and they might be monster themed, but they're still basically humans. And so for non-humanoid walkers, we don't have that many. We have Bolus, we have Ugin.
Eugene.
I think that's it.
I don't think so. Maro's line is that if the silhouette doesn't look like it could be a person, he doesn't consider it humanoid. Like, I don't think he considers a Johnny humanoid.
I thought a Johnny fell into the humanoid category, but I could be wrong. So if let's see, we could even throw a Johnny on like on the middle of the line. But Maro's often saying that market testing shows that humanoid walkers sell better. The people like them.
Yeah.
And so other. Oh, so go ahead.
I think for a good example of why you just have to look to MMO design. In MMO
Mhm.
design, there's always human races, and then there's beast races. And there's definitely a and people like to play some of the beast races, but the ratios are always like 80% of the player population is playing like human or like an elf, which is barely not human, and then it's like
Oh yeah.
5 to 6% are actually playing like the beast race. Pick your flavor of it. I can't remember some of the ones off the top of my head, like Lutari or like.
And in World of
So,
War,
for example. Oh,
Okay, go ahead.
sorry. I was actually going to mention Warcraft too. So so like the people will jump through some pretty big hoops and they will stretch out, but generally your player base gravitates towards the most vanilla human looking and I think the thought is they can make it look the most like them. Most people play characters that look like, if they have the option to make a character, people tend to make characters that look like them. It's just a thing that people do. But like before Blood Elves were introduced in Warcraft, most of the Horde players played undead. And then it was a pretty big split, but there were maybe half again as many orcs as, not half again, but like maybe 2/3 as many orcs as undead, and then everything else trailed off. Whereas like Alliance side, everybody was a frigging human basically.
And once Blood Elves showed up in WoW, everyone on Horde side was Blood Elves. I only played Blood
undead.
Elves.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two that I played.
Yeah, I played WoW for a while, and whenever we were Horde, I was always Blood Elf. Because they're
Unless
very
you happen
pretty.
to really like tieflings, because that's the other thing that people really like for whatever reason.
And there's honestly, I think Volpera was their new race that they released. People made alts, but there's not many people who made Volpera or Worken over the.
Wait, I haven't even heard of that second one. Anyway, that's
They're
World of
awesome.
Warcraft, not Magic. But we went on a slight World of Warcraft tangent to bring up that generally people tend to lean towards that. And now on Blogatog, there's a very loud minority, it seems, who really want to see some non-humanoid walkers. And so we have the dragons, and we were talking a little bit pre-show, like Ren and Six, Ren is humanoid, Six isn't. Six is a big tree folk thing.
Arlen
Arlen
Arlen's
is
humanoid.
and then
Yeah.
werewolf. When she's transformed, she's not really humanoid at that point. The werewolves, but she's humanoid enough for box art. So I wanted to ask y'all where you come down, because obviously Wizards has the marketing data. I would like to see. Me and Kat kind of got into this conversation a while back, and Kat was kind of like, "Why do people?" She just didn't get all the people wanting the weird stuff. I want something weird. I'd like to see an ooze planeswalker or a Leviathan. I want something really out there. But I guess I want to ask you, where do you all come down on this?
Sorry, just real quick. You're telling me that Kat does not want an angel planeswalker?
She wants an angel planeswalker would be humanoid though.
It wouldn't though. It's not. So here's the deal. If it doesn't have a recognizably human silhouette, it's worth mentioning. That seems to be Morrow's line is, if you were to have it just be a silhouette, does it look like it could be a human squinting a little bit? And the angel's got the wings.
See, okay, I don't know if I agree with Morrow's I don't know if I agree with Morrow's assessment on that.
You want the angel, Catherine.
I kind of feel like, and maybe in my head there's a totally different tier, but Ob Nixilis is human shaped, but he's a big demon with bat wings. And I guess I would consider Ob Nixilis kind of not humanoid, but an angel feels like a person with bird wings. If you stick an angel on a box, people could still go, "Oh, I like that angel. It reminds me of this," or "I'm kind of like this angel." Yeah, I don't have wings, but I don't know. I want something weird. I want an ooze. I want an ooze planeswalker, and I want an ooze planeswalker bad. And or a Leviathan or a worm. I know worms aren't sentient, so that's probably not happening in a dozen different ways. But I don't know. What do you all think? Do you think Magic would be better suited for that? Do you think they're doing the right thing? Somebody who's not me talk.
So I'm right there with you, Brett. But there's a personal offense that we have had in the lore. 2 Sphinx planeswalkers. Crucius, which is the guy who founded Esper, and then oh my god, Azor.
No, never mind.
No. Crucius and Azor were both Sphinx planeswalkers in the lore, and neither of them got planeswalker cards.
We almost got an Azor Walker, but
we did not.
The colors didn't work out, so that was that's when we got Huatley. But okay, that's fair. Like we've had a lot of Sphinx planeswalkers, and
I would
Sphinx
kill for a Sphinx Planeswalker. Good lord.
Okay. And we have Dragon Planeswalker, so Red's Iconic has a Planeswalker, even if they're not mono red.
Black's Iconic has one.
Yeah, we have Obnixilis, so
White says it's Fangirl, but it's not quite the same as an angel.
yeah.
Sarah is not an angel.
No, I will retract. It doesn't need to be an Ooze Planeswalker. I want a Hydra Planeswalker. That sounds sweet. Dave, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I can't imagine why they wouldn't do it at some point. It's going to be different enough if they end up putting out some planeswalker type some creature type, I guess, that they haven't done, something that's non-humanoid. That seems like something that they will inevitably do. Like it's going to happen once they run out of ideas or they need to shake things up a little.
Do you have a personal opinion? Do you have a preference? Do you have something that you would like to see, or do you not care about planeswalkers the characters all that much?
I mean, for the most part, there's not much to care about. I don't think. Like there exist vampires. Like Sorin exists. They keep printing Sorin. They haven't killed off Sorin yet. We have Dreddy. Both of these are humanoid, but I mean, I think that's at least different.
Because
as Sphinx Planeswalker, I guess would be kind of cool. I'd be fine with seeing that.
Particularly now because you're a blue-white player. So having a blue-white Sphinx Planeswalker seems appropriate.
I mean, I'd be cool with a Manicore too, but I don't think Manicores are smart enough. They may not be, they may be. Who knows? I mean, we have a Goblin Planeswalker.
We do have a Goblin Walker. I don't get me wrong, my favorite Planeswalker is a human, but like my second favorite Planeswalker is Angrath, and I love me some Angrath and want more Angrath at all times and in all places. So like, I don't know. I'm really super duper on team non-humanoid Planeswalker by like a lot, but I also I'm curious because they haven't really done one on a huge scale. Now they have been able to do legendary creatures, so like maybe I'm being like those weirdos on Blogatog who are convinced that they're right even though they don't go with the data, but like I'm surprised they haven't tested the boundaries more, like, and do something really out there. And maybe they don't want to waste a planeswalker slot on a creature. Like, if people say, "Oh, it's a Leviathan," but like it's a giant fish, I don't care. Maybe they don't want to lose that real estate of valuable character, valuable IP, a slot that could go to something that'll sell more packs or get more people engaged. I don't know, but I'm surprised they haven't pushed the boundary more at this point.
I think Renin 6 was pushing the boundary.
Really?
Renin 6. Okay, so Renin 6 was one of the first planeswalkers that's like a character they created that wouldn't be like a base race in an RPG handbook. Like a dryad that possesses tree folks that walks from plane to plane and possesses a new tree when they do that. The planeswalker is the parasite that is like sticking out of the frigging tree folk. Like that is, the artlet is disturbing. It is visually like unsettling. Ren looks very like, there's that humanoid shape, but they're still very like alien. Like I feel like Renin 6 was really pushing the boundaries of, like, I don't think they're humanoid. I don't consider them humanoid.
No, I mean, particularly when you're attached to half a tree folk, like I would potentially argue Ajani, but I'm not going to argue that Renin 6 is humanoid. And if they were, it would just be Ren.
Well, right, but what I'm saying is not necessarily, I don't think there's any question as to whether Renin 6 is humanoid, but like, I do think specifically Renin 6 is pushing a boundary that other planeswalkers they printed haven't.
Okay.
Visually, I guess.
I mean, there is always
and
the dragons.
constructed wise.
Go ahead, JC. I'm sorry.
I said there is always the dragons.
Yeah. And there are people trying to argue with Morrow that the dragons are humanoid because they aren't like shaped like Skyrim dragons, but I don't think that argument holds up great. Like they're 20-foot tall dragons with wings.
Yeah, they're not humanoid.
No.
Well, and also, oh, sorry, Jason, go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I have mixed opinions on this. So I think it's hard to conceptualize things. So the things that we know have approximate human intelligence or close to human intelligence, in the Magic the Gathering universe are none of them are really bestial except like dragons and sphinxes. Like, and that's kind of why we went to there. So I think in order for Wizards to print a planeswalker that is not a human, they would have to bring something that is not human in all of the rest of the cards to human intelligence. They would have to basically awaken something.
Well,
and I think that's kind of a leap in lore for them.
You could do it. So tree folk, you could do. We've had sentient tree folk.
Right.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, like a worm or a hydra generally aren't like the green creatures.
Hydras aren't intelligent.
Are not or are.
They are feral in almost every case in Magic.
Because
So are dragons, though. Most dragons in Magic are animals.
Yeah, the elder dragons are
A
unique.
specific different thing. Like Niv Mizzet being an intelligent dragon is unique on Ravnica, basically.
Okay.
I mean, Polyraptor passed the mirror test.
I don't think.
Come on, laugh at that, please.
Jeez, go home. I'll just reach back and just like.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered as much. Particularly with green creatures, like most green things aren't. Yeah, so worms, hydras, beasts, like tree folk, you could say.
Tree folk, I think, have a very strong argument for. I think you could maybe like squint and say phoenixes in red.
That even gets it for me because like, that's like phoenixes are just like bird shaped. So like, I would be weird to have a planeswalker that's just an bird. Like I could see like an Aven, but like a phoenix that's like sitting on a roost.
Harpy
I could also see. Kat just threw in the chat. She doesn't want something that lacks human comparative levels of comparative levels of human intelligence. And that's actually you can't be a planeswalker unless you have human level intelligence.
Right. And I think where you explore this is in black. I think you slap the label nightmare onto something and it's easy enough to imagine it with human intelligence. Nightmare squirrel. Oh, the squirrel's a nightmare. It's got human intelligence.
They can't give subtypes to planeswalkers, not creature types anyway.
And like I would argue that Ashiok would be, if Ashiok was a creature, wouldn't Ashiok be a nightmare?
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, no, because walkers don't get subtypes, which would be helpful. But yeah, they established early on walkers don't get subtypes. Because like Karn would be an artifact, but planeswalkers don't get subtypes. So lore-wise, he is artificial, but you can't shatter him in the game because he's not an artifact.
So basically you have to do it through lore. You have to say that essentially like, yeah, this black mutant crazy squirrel that I printed on this card as planeswalker doesn't have the nightmare type actually to it, but I'm justifying that it has human level intelligence because it's, some crazy black nightmare, dreamed it up from the blackness of evil, not that black's evil.
It like for us, like, would it be too much of a stretch? Because like, I keep coming back to Leviathan. I would love to see like a blue-black Leviathan, like kind of like an aboleths are the D&D big psychic fish monsters, right?
Yep.
It's like I'd like to see like an aboleth. Like I don't feel like that'd be too much of a stretch if there's just some kind of alien. It's intelligent and can communicate, but its needs and desires aren't humanoid. I don't know. That is something I would love.
I was literally having this thought here too. So it's interesting you mentioned the aboleth, right? So I think what you need, and I think the component that you need is the person looking at it, even without knowledge of Magic's IP or the particular IP of the thing that it's pulling from, like the aboleth, needs to be able to recognize this thing as intelligent. I think with an angel you could have that, with a demon you have that, with a sphinx you have that, and if your dragon is like has like jewelry and stuff, smart dragons are like a thing. Everyone knows Smog. Right. Mm-hmm. But like if your thing doesn't look like it could be intelligent, I think it's a harder sell. And I don't think humanoid is almost as important as looks like it could carry out a conversation.
Okay.
So if I were to pitch a dolphin planeswalker, would you guys
I think that'd be a no sell.
I'd like to see that. I wouldn't hate seeing and I want to say I would like it. So Kira just threw something in the chat. if the Green Lanterns have a squirrel, then we can have different planeswalkers, in my opinion. And I completely agree with that. Like, if you stick it on a card and you give it a name, if you name it Frederick Nightmare Leviathan, I know that I can talk to Frederick, or that he can speak into my mind and whisper dark nothings. Like, I'm with this. Like, I think we need to push the boundaries.
Also, a Leviathan that like tunnels from plane to plane, coming in on like this big like sweeping tide is super dope.
I think it'd be neat.
That squirrel is not in many issues of Green Lantern, Karen. I'm sorry. It's in like 6 comics.
Still counts. Like if we go to the Norse place and we get like a Ratatasker, like squirrel, like a 3-foot tall semi-humanoid squirrel, but it's mostly a squirrel, I would love that. I want weird shit. Magic's been around for 25 years. Let's get weird.
Let's do a Redwall set.
I would add, as someone who generally just likes humans and like doesn't really want to go back to Lorwyn because I don't like Kithkin that much, I would actually be super down for a Redwall set. Or like
a mouse planeswalker or rat.
Yeah, I would be. Why don't we have a rat? Why don't we have a Nezumi as a planeswalker? I've got some support in my room for that. A Nezumi rat ninja planeswalker seems sweet.
I don't know, Secret Taker? That's a good name.
I'll tell you exactly why people hate furries.
I am not a furry, and I would like to see more like anthropomorphic animals as planeswalkers because it's different. Like, let's look at Theros. We had a lot of sweet things we could have done in Theros, and we get Calyx. I mean, yeah, he's kind of unique that he got willed into being by a god, but like, why don't we have a centaur planeswalker? Calyx could have been a centaur, and that would have been sweet.
Like, he still could have been made by the same god in the same frigging colors, because original Theros had green, white centaurs.
Exactly.
So literally just do the same art. Just give him a horse ass. Like.
And here's my thing. I really appreciate what Wizards is doing with representation. I don't in any way want to say like, don't print Mike. I love that we have people of color, of different races. Like, I'm really all about this. We have a really big cast of planeswalkers. I'm saying once or twice a year, let's get weird with it. And like the top half of Calyx could have still looked like Calyx. Just give him that horse ass. Like, I don't know. I didn't know I felt this strongly about this, but now I do.
Well, and people know centaurs are intelligent. You look at a centaur, you know what that is. You're like, oh, that is a brain, and it probably cares about the forest.
And like, we had Xenagos.
And it might rape people, but that's like a mythology thing.
I'm just saying that kid with the dog. I'm forgetting his name. Mau
is
the dog.
Yeah, that's the dog. Oh God, I know Mu Yanling. Oh God.
Yeah, I'm struggling with it. And I don't want to look it up.
Give me a second.
Either way, y'all know what I'm talking about. We'll get the name here in a second. I definitely want, like, if that character dies, that dog has planeswalked enough and been around enough magic that dog gets to be a planeswalker.
He's a rock. He's like a statue that was brought to life, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's made of stone.
Even better.
But I'm not opposed to, like... I mean, that's the thing. Like, for me, like a fantasy creature is kind of where my jump. So when you said Phoenix, and a Phoenix is like, it's a fantasy creature, but it's also just like an eagle that's on fire. Like, an eagle planeswalker, or just like a dog who is a dog-shaped dog. That's where, I mean, dolphins also...
Wishbone.
Like, yeah,
it's Amaru, the best boy.
That's kind of where it seems weird to me. Like, if they really, that's where it might be, or like, just like a horse. That'd be a weird planeswalker. Like, I think that'd be hilarious.
So even the eagle, I think, would have a better sell than a phoenix, because there's like this Tolkien eagles are super smart thing.
Yeah, like talking giant birds. Okay.
But yeah, I don't think a phoenix would be a sell because it's like a big elemental thing. So yeah, fair enough. But I think your thing has to be recognizably intelligent. I think that's the line. And the more legwork you have to do indicating that, like, what are you going to give your Leviathan planeswalker, like a lip piercing? Like,
I'm just saying, look at the face of that Brushwagg there. You tell me that thing isn't intelligent and on a mission.
Yangu. I'm bad at pronunciations, but Jang or Yangu, I'm not sure. I always flip the names in. I'm not sure which is the first name, but that is Mao's owner. So there you go. Okay, sorry, that's what I was looking at. Like I get what people are saying. I know we don't like. I'm not looking for like. It's like a sturgeon. It's just like a sturgeon, and that's a planeswalker. Like, I get that's weird, but I feel like we can kind of push the fantasy boundary a little further. We have Minotaurs, we have Gorgons. Let's get a Centaur. Let's get like one giant Aboleth Leviathan.
I mean, I would be super down for the Aboleth thing. Like, that's one of my favorite D&D monsters, but...
Dave, I know it's not your... Oh, sorry, go ahead, JC.
I just want to plead with you, Wizards, real quick, for one of your Secret Lair sets or something. Do a Cats 2. And please just have an alt art of Johnny where he's just literally a kitten. That would be great.
That would be hilarious. I'm super down. Dave, I know this is not your specific area of the game as much, but any additional thoughts on walkers?
Like, I don't know. I'd be cool with seeing a Kraken Walker, I guess. Like, that's something we haven't seen.
Okay, so you're with me on giant fish.
Like, there are certain like giant creatures that I think would have sentience that you could make an argument that maybe they have a spark.
You also just made a good... What about a giant? There we go.
I mean, but giants would still be humanoid, though, right?
Exactly. I mean,
yeah.
Outline rule, they are humanoid, even if they're 30 feet tall. So,
yeah, I mean, we don't really have context as to how big a giant is without seeing a normal sized thing next to it.
And also something that is kind of, speaking of giants, like for green, I know green's a little harder, but like Godzilla, if there was a Godzilla-like kaiju planeswalker, so it's like a Tarask or Godzilla, so like Godzilla's a beast, but like in the movies, it's like he can figure out what the humans are doing. And he maybe doesn't talk to everybody, but like, I don't know. I think it'd be cool.
What generation are we talking?
Okay, we're not going to go into deep Godzilla lore, but I'm saying like, I think it'd be cool for like the planeswalkers to show up and this beast materialized. And then like, as the story progresses, they find out that like, it didn't like awaken. It planeswalked from Ikoria because a Godzilla monster got sentience. And I feel like I could handle a giant lizard walker.
How about...
Hive Mind Bug Planeswalker would be cool.
Oh, one of my roommates just demanded that Galta be a planeswalker, so just a T-Rex. Just a T-Rex. Which, I don't know. Maybe this is why I don't work at Wizards of the Coast, but I think these are all great ideas.
And his like power set could be it teleports around. You do like teleportation powers, you know.
For people who don't know our role-playing games, who have not played Tomb of Annihilation, that joke is not going to land, but it was good. For that very niche window of people, which to be fair is probably a large percentage of our audience. So it's probably fine. Yeah. So that's probably fine. Okay. Any thoughts on giant walkers before we wrap this topic up and move on to the next one?
Yeah, no, I think I like Dave's point there, actually, like that there are a lot of giant creatures. I think there is a thing proportionally how giant and terrifying you are, the more intelligent you tend to be in a fantasy universe.
Yeah, no, I feel like if you make something big enough, odds are it can probably speak into your mind in a fantasy setting.
Probably.
And if we're going to do a Wild West set, what if we got a giant sentient planeswalking robot spider?
What if we got a horse wearing a duster and a hat?
No,
I
like
really
the Wild West.
Centaur wearing a duster and a hat.
If we do not get a planeswalking,
build him.
If we do not get a planeswalking sheriff centaur in the Wild West set, I'm gonna riot. Also, Wild West world is on the short list. Morrow had a list of like planes we're gonna go to, and the planes we haven't done from that list, because it's an old list, are like Wild West, Water World, Sky World, Underground World. So like Mole, Enormous Eagle, Centaur Sheriff. Like I feel like we might get some of these. So I don't know. I'm pretty jazzed.
I mean, it's a one-horse town.
Oh. Terrible. I also just want a planeswalker who's a regular horse of horse level intelligence.
Nay.
That's what I'm pulling for, which I think is a completely reasonable expectation to have of wizards. Okay. If that's everything on non-humanoid walkers, let's roll on to our final topic. But before we do, we are going to kick it over to an ad break. So quick word from our sponsors, and then we will meet you back here for the last topic.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the ads. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Inked Gaming, Nuclear Ink Tattoos, and Cards Custom Build. Are you looking to get a custom playmat? Well, then we suggest you check out inkedgaming.com. They have custom playmats, dice bags, mouse pads, and much, much more. You guys gotten anything from Inked Gaming?
Not yet, but I keep meaning to. I've got 2 Magic playmats as my current gaming setup, and but one of my Innistrad Championship mat which I didn't win, I just got as a prize. Is super chewed up. So I'm getting close to needing something new.
If you guys want, I have designed some chalkboard TCGU sponsored player mats. I could shoot you over the pictures and you can just go get them on there.
I might do that for like my actual like going to tournaments and playing mat. That sounds cool. Yeah.
They even let you add a stitched option to the playmat and mouse pads as well. Ink Gaming lets you play your game with your style. Like I said, you can do the custom images. You can either go out and find an artist to get you something, or you can design it and send it in, and they work with you, your style, your game. If you want 10% off your order, use the code TCG University, all caps, no spaces at checkout. Help support us by customizing your game to your style. Big shout outs to Inked Games.
Yes, and like I said, my playmat's getting chewed up. It's because it doesn't have the stitched thing. I have a couple stitched edge playmats, and they are awesome.
Nuclear Ink Custom Tattoo and Skate Shop. This episode is also sponsored by Nuclear Ink Custom Tattoo and Skate Shop. At Nuclear Ink, you can find a very inclusive environment with artists that share your interest in nerd culture and fandoms alike. You guys have any tattoos?
No, but if I get one, Jesse down at Nuclear Ink is going to be doing it.
For sure.
If I get one, he's doing it.
What about you?
Oh, just the one.
Which is?
It's got just a little kanji here.
Oh, that's really rad.
Kenshin's dope.
What is the kanji for?
It's the symbol for evil and misfortune.
Okay.
Well, I want a Legend of Zelda tattoo. Nuclear Ink prides themselves on being Omaha's premier all-custom tattoo shop. So if you're looking to get a custom tattoo, please check out Nuclear Ink here in Omaha, Nebraska. Link will be in the description. Jesse seems like a really chill guy, and if you're looking to get anything custom, you should definitely chit-chat with him. He'd love to conversate with you so that you are 100% happy with anything that you decide to put on your body for the rest of your life.
Super good people. Really can't recommend them enough.
And then the last sponsor for today is Cards Custom Build. Are you into cosplay, you nerd? Of course you are. You looking to get into cosplay? Of course you are. Do you want to show up to events dressed as your favorite character? Well, then Cards Custom Build is here to help. Cards Custom Build creates everything from cosplay accessories like props, trinkets, and weaponry, all the way up to full-blown costumes. I asked you guys last time. What do you guys want to be? You said the Mandalorian last time.
Mandalorian armor.
Yeah. My father, Clay Cardwell from Cards Custom Build, he has everything set out. He's got it all designed at like an incredibly talk of the town. I even have that in here. Talk of the town price. It's so good to take in, and just like making costumes takes a long time.
Yeah, it's really time consuming, and it takes a lot of different kind of skill sets and equipment. So like, if you're into building your own, awesome. But if you're like me and lazy, this is the way to make it happen.
I just went to Level Up Expo out in Vegas over this past weekend for a card tournament, and it was really fun. Just people watching all these people in their really awesome costumes. It's fun to see people transform and become somebody that they're not. It's fun seeing somebody out of costume that you think would be very timid and not hold themselves, and as soon as you put on that Superman suit, they stand up and they put their chest out. Like it's super rad, and the costume is half of that equation. So go over to Cards Custom Build either on Facebook or on their Etsy account. Links will be in the description down below. Make sure that you mention TCG University sent you their way, and you'll get 5% off your entire order. And whenever you're talking about really high level costumes, 5% is actually a ton. That could be upwards of like $50. Like honestly, if you're pushing for all the accoutrements.
If you're going for if you're going for a big one, oh yeah, or save a couple bucks on something smaller. Like yeah really.
For sure.
No reason not to. If you're thinking about doing it, support local if you're here in Nebraska, and if not,
he'll ship across the whole U.S.
Support him anyway.
Support him anyway, even if you're in a different state.
Back to our show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. And we are going to move on to our last topic here. And so we are going to discuss, for those of you watching in the future, we are still in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. We are over a month into most shelter-in-place orders or requests, or however you want to put it, people have been social distancing or unable to, or strongly suggested not to leave their houses. Ikoria's paper release has been pushed back, and it might get pushed back again. We have no idea when the paper cards are coming out. Arena has just pushed out some new products, so we're going to talk about kind of like where Paper Magic is and where Digital Magic is at this way, and what Wizards is doing to kind of keep people playing. So, Dave, I think you brought one of this up. Do you want to kind of give us a little baseline of like where we're at right now, Paper Magic wise, and then move on to the Arena stuff?
Well, there's a global pandemic, which means we can't play in stores, so we're pretty much limited to just Arena and MTGS. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Because at this point, every paper event everything's canceled. Anything that's happening in person is totally canceled. So Arena has pushed out. We got Ikoria, but with Ikoria, we got pod drafting, where you draft with 7 other players instead of bots, and then you play. You don't play the same people from your pod necessarily, but we have a totally new way to draft, which is totally different. And then I'm trying to think. So we pushed that out. And Arena's going hard where they're talking Mac OS and they're still talking mobile by the end of 2020. So they're really pushing hard to get more engagement. They're also doing a Magic Arena FNM. So if you play in the free event and take a picture and send it to your local game store has codes. And up to the past 3 Fridays, you've gotten a special sleeve. And now you'll be getting a special promo pack that can include sleeves or avatars that are already on Arena. So Wizards is definitely trying to keep us playing and keep us paying, obviously. But what are some other people's? I've been pretty happy with the FNMs. I've been doing those and getting the extra sleeves. Where do you guys? What have you guys been doing? Or what have you guys been enjoying or hoping Wizards does or that stuff?
I forgot how much I hate waiting for the pack to come around the table. And you can see who it's stuck on. So you can see that person across the table from you has 6 of the 8 packs that are in circulation at the table right now, and they just need to pick a damn card, and so the rest of us can get on our fucking way.
I wonder if that's a disconnect issue, or if they're just really, really, really slow. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Cliff, it's just Cliff.
Oh boy, an old friend from Carney who took his damn time drafting. But in his defense, he was better than me, so it's hard to judge too much.
Honestly, I would just love to get a feel from the group. Has it just turned into that now that you don't get to play Paper Magic, you're playing less Magic, you're engaging with Magic less? Or have you substituted into watching more streams, playing on Arena, doing different things to get Magic? So is Magic less in your life, or has it transformed in some way to just, I play as much Magic, I engage as much with Magic, but it's in a digital space?
That's a really good question. Arena, I play a lot more. Even pre-pandemic, I played a lot more Arena than I play Paper. So obviously I'm not doing those Commander get-togethers, but those only happened a couple times a month generally. So I'm hopefully going to replace those with Moto, but maybe I've played a little more Arena, but I still read about it. I'm still checking Reddit and stuff like that about the same. Maybe I'm playing a little more Arena, and obviously I'd be going to a pre-release if I could, so I'll be playing more limited of Ikoria this weekend probably to kind of hit that pre-release itch. I need to buy some paper cards. I need to order. Krypton's doing orders. You can reach out to them and see if they've got cards, and they'll set stuff aside or ship, or you can go pick stuff up. So I'm definitely buying less paper cards, which is not good because I need to support my LGS. But,
I mean, that's the follow-up question too. Like, are you shifting where you spend your money? Are you still buying paper cards? Are you still investing in paper products, physical products? Are you investing more in Arena and stuff?
Well, I think you're just kind of stuck right now. You really don't have many options to buy paper products. You're stuck. I mean, I think like Krypton right up the road, they're allowing still 10 people in, but they're usually closed by 6 or 5. So they're really not open too terribly long for the folks that are still leaving the house.
Yeah, no, and I talked to Eric, and he basically said if you have cards, he said send it to them, and they'll look through their stock, and they'll do some whatever we can COVID wise to get the cards to you. But it's hard. Here's my thing. I want to buy paper cards. I want to buy the new set, but because they don't know distribution numbers yet, Krypton's not even pre-ordering yet. So like, I would love to be buying paper cards. I can't yet, and I've spent more on Arena. Normally, I only buy one of the intro things, be it like the 50 packs or the Mastery Pass and like the two sealed events. So normally that's what I do.
What about the secondary market, like Card Kingdom or singles that you would buy from the internet, things like that?
Most places
Are they still
aren't
shipping?
No, Card Kingdom's not. Some like from what I understand, since Seattle's and shelter-in-place orders are so restrictive and have been going on for so long, they're most places are delaying. Most places can't ship, or you can't get stuff fast. Prices are dropping, which I didn't. Go ahead, Dave.
I was gonna say TCG Player. I believe, if I remember right, I was reading something about their warehouse union. So
Yeah,
which feels like this is the exact time that these organizations should be unionized.
Oh, hell yeah. Not to get too leftist, like, you absolutely need to flex your power when you have it as, like, organizing your labor. Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's a topic I think we can all go on for literal hours that has nothing to do with Magic in general. But the short version of it is, if people are working themselves half to death, if they're doing these things, it was summed up best that I saw from a union worker over by the Google building when they were still putting that in Council Bluffs. Sell your labor, not your soul.
Oh, I like that. That's great. No,
That's why that was on a button.
I'm thrilled that TCG Player is unionizing. I hope other places do it too. I hope they take advantage of this. Prices are going down, which Dave, you were talking about reserve list prices going down. I think prices are basically down across the board, which...
Well, honestly, I hadn't taken a look at it yet, but let's take a quick look. I guess we'll use TCG Player Mid, right?
Yeah. See, I've got some... I'm on the finance, but...
Stand by. I'm still on push to talk, so anytime that I actually talk, it just puts a bunch of T's everywhere.
Oh, your push to talk is T? I'm a fan of caps.
Yeah, T for talk.
I guess that makes sense.
I use Alt.
See, but weird shit can happen if you use Alt.
That's true. Not in Discord though.
I'm trying to see. I don't know. I can't get up.
Revised Volcanic Island TCG Player. Let's see. Buy list is $298. Market price is $411. Listed median $413. You can get heavy play just shy of $300. So
is there
what
a
was the
comparison?
bet?
Well, the bet was for a year. I guess. So does TCG Player let you go back and look at previous prices, or do you have to use a different?
MTG price is what I used to use. I can pull that up real quick, but the problem is that only goes off of what's been sold, not what people are trying to sell them at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Because I'm curious how much stuff is actually moving off the shelves. But I mean, yeah,
And I actually feel like an idiot. I had typed in Volcanic Island and wondered to myself, why isn't there an alpha list?
Oh, that's right. Volcanic Island wasn't in alpha. It was supposed to be, but it didn't make. I think there was accidentally an extra island on the sheet.
I believe that was the case. They had the rare island in the print run, but Volcanic Island per MTG price is revised is $416.78 is about what they have. It looks like, I mean, it goes back a couple of years. It shows like in 2016 it was closer to 200, and then it's doubled in the last 4 years, roughly.
Where was it? Where was it at like January 1st of 2020?
Well, let me take a look. I don't think it's actually gone down because, again, part of that problem is they have to, they have to sell it.
Kieran just posted in chat, I work at GGG and we're getting more orders than normal.
What's GGG? I'm not familiar. Is that no, I have no idea.
Guys, grocery games.
Good game and giving.
Oh, okay. Local games. Okay, so you're getting more orders. Yeah, that's what I have a lot of paper cards.
That's right, Goblin God, yeah.
Oh, okay. I have a bunch of paper cards I want, but basically, like, I want all the new cards, and then I'm gonna mess around and like figure out what I need to get. But like, generally, at this point, I would have expected to have the cards in my hand, and then I'll be like, generally, when a set comes out, I will do a big online order like a week or two afterwards once I've done with the pre-release. Well, shout out to Goblin God Games. Okay, so you guys are getting more orders, which is good. I'm happy to hear that you guys are getting. That's a local Omaha game store for people who are watching this on YouTube and don't get to see the chat right now. But yeah, so that's okay. That's some interesting data coming in, which I'm curious. I don't know exactly how Krypton's doing with their order wise. The reason I regularly bring up Krypton is I just talk to Eric a fair amount, but
I can literally see it from my balcony.
I guess that's another reason we're real close to it. But well, I'm happy to hear that you guys are still getting orders and you're mostly online. Yeah, I am excited to buy paper cards. I just
Can't.
I can't.
Yeah.
And I don't have as much to. We don't play much paper in the house, just like me and Kat and Ray. Like 3 is kind of an awkward number for Commander, and we haven't made Dan learn to play. We need to make him learn. I think he's promised us that he would at some point.
I think he'd dig it. I think he would like it.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. If anyone who likes complicated strategy video games, I feel like should give Magic a try. But I feel like if you're an hour into the Magic podcast, you probably have. Like, if that was where I convinced you, I don't know why you're here, but thanks for tuning in.
Because I keep wondering, because people keep talking about in other aspects of our life the new normal and how things won't go back to normal after this, and they keep talking about how video conferencing is the thing and more people working at home, because companies used to be like, no, you have a job where you obviously could work at home, but we're not going to let you work at home. But now it's kind of proven that you can do that. Yeah. But I'm starting to think that it's a lot like what you guys are all saying in Magic. Maybe just it will go back to the way it was because that's what people want at the end of the day, and this is not going to push some new digital front.
I think this is going to definitely I bought more. I spent an extra $100, extra $50 when the set came out because I just wanted some Ikoria in my life. So I think there's gonna be some impact. My digital collection will be bigger because of this. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Lily.
Oh, I think Dave was trying to get in here.
I'd completely forgotten what I had to say. No worries.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I think we will eventually. Hopefully, when all this pandemic stuff's over, I'm hoping we get back to
about
paper.
The new normal there, Dave?
It was before that when we were talking about prices.
As my dad used to say, if I had forgotten about it, it couldn't have been that important.
That's fair.
No worries.
So so the new normal thing, it's funny that you mentioned you're right by Krypton. I'm also very close to Krypton, 2 miles, right? And I forgot everything past the intersection by my house. It just I haven't been out past that in weeks, and it's so weird. I'm I am by Krypton, right? Yeah. And I don't know if you go back from that shift in thinking about the world.
I think it'll take time, but I don't know. There's just the digital platforms they don't do multiplayer well. You can do it on a Moto, but it's not good. So I'm going to spend some money on Moto that I normally wouldn't spend, but I am excited to be able to meet back up with people and play Commander in person because it's not going to be as good as paper Magic.
Yeah.
And
you know how I am about paper Commander.
It's I'm hoping that Magic Fest. I'm assuming Magic Fest and the big tournaments and all the paper will. I wish I could go to the pre-release this weekend. If I could snap my fingers and have it not be dangerous, I would be at that pre-release playing Ikoria in paper.
For no other reason.
Well, there's some other reasons, sure, but as someone who's been pretty happy sheltering in place, the main thing I'm sad about missing out is the pre-release. That's the main event that I don't get to do. And so I, for one, am excited to get back to paper Magic whenever we can. I don't think it's going to die. I don't think this is and now we're digital yet, but.
Cool.
Okay.
I don't know. It's hard.
Dave, where do you think? Where do you think we're going to be? Do you think this is going to give us more push towards digital, or do you think we'll correct from this?
They were talking about potentially doing that, and by they, I mean those were the rumors before all this COVID stuff even started. As soon as Arena came about, as they're realizing, look at Hearthstone, look at what Hearthstone can do, just as far as game balance goes, among other things. So it's in Wizards' best interest to just go with Arena, go with their servers, keep their servers in good standings, and maybe eventually just completely do away with paper. And if we go to a completely, a digital model, that opens up a lot of design space. Now they can start doing more random effects. without it being a complete pain in the ass to emulate in real life. Now they can start doing on the fly card power level errata. That's the term. If you guys remember with Hearthstone, when that came out, there was a combo deck called Release the Hounds. And it took them a couple of months before they realized, oh shit, this shouldn't exist. We're going to just completely change what Release the Hounds does instead of banning it. Now imagine if they could have done that with Oko. If they could have gone, oh shit, that plus ability is probably a bit too strong. Maybe that should be
Target creature you control.
Or target creature you control, which I could make. I'm sure they can make an argument that that's how they wanted the card to work in the first place, and it probably
seems to be what they thought the people would be using it for.
Yeah, they could have. Well, I guess the ship had sailed by the time that they realized it was a problem. They couldn't have just gone, oh shit, that was supposed to be target player you control. We'll fix it in subsequent printings, but this is how the card works. We're in the year 2020 at this point. Like, it was 2019 then, but you couldn't pull that back then. You still couldn't do it. Like, you could barely do that shit in Tempest. Intent was very clear that they didn't want it to do that, but they could have backpedaled. They could have said that was their intent, but after 2 months of it just being really good in standard, probably not good enough.
Yeah,
go
ahead.
I think errata is a good topic for if we want to have like a dig in inside baseball kind of topic in a future episode.
I like that. I think we should definitely put that on the short list.
I think that's a good topic.
We could easily go over that for probably 2 to 3 hours, honestly. Just going over the history of erratas, why we don't do it, all that shit. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, well, let's throw that on the short list. But that's an interesting take. Like, I know that's definitely people have talked about the fear of going totally digital. Like, I don't think it's going to happen, but I also didn't think we'd be in a global pandemic for months and months and months of 2020. So what do I know?
So, like, look at it like this, right? So WotC does not, we've all established at this point that WotC does not care about Vintage and Legacy. They do not want to support that as a tournament format. So whenever we have Vintage or Legacy tournaments, those are always a third party. That's them running that at Gen Con where they still do Worlds, if I remember right. They do maybe one Grand Prix a year, which would be official, but it's technically done by Channel Fireball now. Star City, I believe they've finally given up doing Legacy events, but for the longest time, they were the Legacy venue. They were the Legacy circuit.
I remember those.
Yeah.
I watched the heck out of those.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of fun to play, but then, you got to the point where Volcanic Islands are $400. So what are you going to do? Like, you're going to sell out. Unfortunately, that's the case. Yeah, like we always used to talk about how eventually Legacy is going to go the way of Vintage, and lo and behold, I remember when Moxes were $400, and I laughed and went, "I'm not buying a fucking Mox. What are you?"
Yeah.
But the point I'm getting at, so we've established they don't give a shit about these formats. They really don't care that much about Modern, is what it feels like. They've slowly stopped caring about Modern, and Modern's taken over what Legacy is, which is exactly what they said they didn't want Modern to do when they introduced Modern. Weird, huh? So now we're in a position where we have Pioneer, and Pioneer is the new favorite child. We still have Standard, but people don't give a shit about Standard, aside from WotC, because that's how they're going to sell their product. So if we look at it as Arena can do Pioneer and maybe eventually do Modern for some of the older players, what's the point of having card tournaments now? We are in an age where everyone has one of these goddamn things. And if not a cell phone, they've got a laptop, maybe. They've got maybe a pad, probably, cell phones kind of like bottom tier, I guess, and then it goes from there. But still, I've seen I think they call them tavern brawls for Hearthstone, where you have people that are playing Hearthstone right across the table from each other.
Right. No,
What's
you're
to say
you're
we
talking
can't do that
about the
with
right
Arena?
thing.
No, and I think one of the big factors is until they can get multiplayer convenient to play digitally, I don't think we're going to see that. But actually, I think that might be its own topic. I want to talk about that maybe next week. The other futures, the future of Magic, not just on a computer game, but what like a future where there's not physical cards might look like, be it VR, some other stuff. But that's definitely its own topic. Does anyone have any final thoughts on this before we wrap things up for the show?
I mean, probably my paper cards from my cold dead hands. I don't know.
Yeah, I plan to try to get things back to how they were as soon as I can. I like my paper cards. Don't get me wrong, I like Arena a lot, but I really want to get my hands on the new cards, like actually hands. So
I'm kind of on the side of tavern brawls. I like going to the game store and spending money there and buying drinks and being around people and stuff like that. But I also like that digital platforms help me click on a card and look at the card real quick instead of asking someone to hand it to me. And I like the splashy spell effects, and I like the additional information and the organization of it. I mean, that's kind of where I am.
Okay.
Like,
All right.
and I kind of get it as far as tournaments go. That is an instance, because let's face it, Magic players generally aren't the most sociable people. This is a great instance to actually be sociable, to meet people that have the same interests that you have, be able to talk about them. You know, I've made a lot of friends via this game, just that I would have never met otherwise, period. I would never have met them had I not have played Magic. And that is definitely something that would be sorely missed by a lot of people. And I think this is, a necessity. Just think about it like this. What can you do on a Friday night to meet people that don't involve either a bar or a church?
Dungeons and Dragons and Magic.
Like, I'm
Or
sure there are other things,
but, like,
but as far as what's going to
meet
come to mind, I'm like, well, shit, F and F, GPs.
Hanging out under a bridge.
Hanging out under a bridge, the password 6 Semper Tyrannis.
So no, that's I don't
It's
know.
a lot to think about, right?
Yeah, let's think about it. And let's talk a little bit about where Magic might go. That's not just like, oh, you have to have an arena account. Let's think about some semi-digital, but not necessarily totally digital, or maybe totally digital futures for Magic. So let's talk about that next week. So
Yep, and post your questions on our social media. We will.
Yeah, no. If you have thoughts, throw them in the chat. Throw them on the video comments down here, wherever that is. And
I'm jumping in too. You can actually, there on our Discord, there is its own tab for Magic the Gathering and Study Hall topics. I've just thrown both of those topics into the thread itself. But if anybody out there, if you have access to the Discord, toss them in. We'd love to take your suggestions.
yeah, no, we oftentimes go, okay, what are we talking about, and figure out before the show. So if there's something you want to hear us talk about, like, we don't always plan these out weeks in advance. So if there's something you want to hear about, let us know. We'll talk about it. We spent like 20 minutes talking about fish planeswalkers. We can cover whatever you want to cover.
Wait, we were talking about fish planeswalkers? I missed that part. That's very relevant to my interests.
Planeswalkers. Anyway, okay. So that's going to be
Real Big Fish has 0 planeswalkers in that band. I feel like that's been covered before.
We don't have any
most
ska-based
bands have 0
planeswalkers.
planeswalkers, though.
All right, that's fair.
Okay, we're gonna continue whatever weird route this conversation is going in the post show. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you want to see that pre or post show and you're watching on YouTube, it's $1 on the Patreon. You get to watch the whole thing, and you can watch it live and heckle us. And there's comments, and we respond to the comments in the videos. See, we do that. So we do appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in, however you are tuning in. We want to be here for you during this weird pandemic time, and we're going to be doing some extra streaming. So check us out on Twitch. Check us out on our social media. We are here for you guys. We want to make the content you want to watch. So let us know what you want, and we will see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in, and remember who you are.